First thing first, this is strictly a web scraping tutorial that shows you how to scrape a real life website using ChatGPT, and also how to bypass the anti-boot mechanism on that website on your own. Now let's go into the use case of this tutorial. So the website we want to scrape is coinstart.app. Literally, what this website does is that you can search for a wallet address and see the tokens that that wallet is actually buying, or the tokens that the wallet is holding. So it's a cryptocurrency website. So what's the use case here? How do you think people do copy trading, for instance, where they monitor other people's wallets, like top investors' wallets, and copy the same trade that those people are doing in their own wallet? So, for instance, you want to see what Elon Musk is buying. You can copy Elon Musk wallet address if you have it and paste it into this app or into this web app, and it shows you everything that Elon Musk is holding. But hold on, this is protected by Cloudflare. So there's no way you are going to get past it with just normal request library or even an automation library like Selenium or Playwright. If you try to use the request library, it doesn't work because the request library doesn't have a mechanism to bypass that block. But if you try to also use an automation library like Selenium or Playwright, they also don't work because they are heavily fingerprinted by anti-boots like Cloudflare, Akamai, and what have you. So what's the way forward? We're going to find out in this tutorial. Let's look at a wallet. This is my wallet actually, so it has nothing in it. So let's look at a wallet that has something in it. So I've preloaded those wallet addresses into the search bar, so no worries. For most websites, when you launch a search, you're going to see the query string or your query right in the address bar appended to the website URL. This is a very vital information for scraping. Now we have our cool wallet address with $194,000 inside of it, and these are the tokens that this fellow is holding. All right, so what's the use case here? You can get plenty of wallet address and iterate through and get this data from them. For instance, you can study or you can get the cryptocurrency wallet address of top investors or influencers, and just make a list of these addresses and check what they are buying. Try to create a trend from the data you extract and make a decision based on it. But here we're going to be extracting this singular one to show you the basics and how to bypass the block on this website. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll copy this address and I'll try to paste it in my code editor. So the URL to scrape is this. So I also want to separate the token address or the wallet address from the URL. So I'll say address equals the wallet address. All right, so the next thing, I can now append this wallet address to the URL to make a full URL. So I'm going to say full underscore URL equals URL. Let's choose an F string and URL, and then this has already a linker, something like a path. So no need to put a path here anymore. Then we have the address here. Then we have this inside of a string. We make our first request. I'm gonna say response equals request and dot get, and what we have is we want to make a request to the full URL and get print response dot text. We are going to run this code now and see what we get. I'm going to run Python wallet .py. That's the name of the file uh, that's controlling my script. So here we have just a moment. It shows that you're getting blocked. I've tried this with Selenium, tried it with Playwright, tried it with several other stealth plugins like Selenium Stealth, Puppeteer Stealth, in fact, Playwright Stealth. It just doesn't work at scale, right? So what are we going to do? One solution that I use is that I use a web scraping API. So the first thing I do is I go to this website, uh, ZenRows.com, and I go to you can actually start a free trial. The website is generous. You can start a free trial on this website and click free trial. So the website gives you a Universal Scraper API. It has several other products, but the one we are going to use is the Universal Scraper API, which is actually a beast that I've tried out. Okay, so I found my way into the Universal Scraper API. So all you have to do is just log in into your dashboard when you get to www.zenrows.com. I'm going to paste it in the description below. And when you get there, you go to the Universal Scraper API and then you click on Premium Proxy, because Premium Proxy actually allows you to access any content while scraping, regardless of your location, right? It helps you to, rotate the IPs that you use to scrape in case you want to scrape at scale so you don't get detected when you're scraping. And also you can activate, of course, you're going to want to activate JavaScript rendering, because the website we want to scrape actually does some JavaScript rendering behind the scenes. So request library cannot do that. That is one of the advantages of using automation tools like Selenium and Playwright, but unfortunately those cannot bypass the block on the website we want to scrape. So this is the best solution we can use. We're going to choose the API connection mode, and it gives you this code right here that you can easily plug and play into your existing web scraper. Okay, so don't bother about this API key, because this API key doesn't work. So I'm gonna copy this and yeah, instead of this, I'm going to replace the entire thing here, and I'm gonna replace it with this one. I'll remove this so you can see how easy it is to actually form a simple request with this tool. So the API key, I've already loaded it from my environment file. So I have a valid API key in my case, which is actually coming from a free trial, a 14 days free trial. So API keys, I'm going to say API key to make this less intrusive. I'll just put the next thing I'm going to do now. I'll try to make a request with this website. I don't need this because I already have the full URL, right? Which is actually a query string of the wallet I want to scrape. Here I'm going to run the code and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we have our results here, and it actually prints way more results now than the previous one, showing that yeah, we got what we want. The next thing we want to do is that we want to be able to bypass to actually scrape the table on that website. So instead of going through the stress of looking for elements, or using BeautifulSoup to pass and all that, we can simply use ChatGPT to do the job. So the only thing we need is just the element of this table, and we pass that to ChatGPT. Now I'm not promising that ChatGPT is going to be accurate, right? But we are going to prompt it to be accurate. So let's do that together, folks. So head on to this place and click on inspect. Down here you're going to click on inspect, and when you click on inspect, you see, okay, so we have name total, but then this is still not what we need to search for where the table actually starts. So this entire div is what controls the table, and we want to look for the top one. So it's not this one, it's this next one. So what we can do is right click on this and come to copy and say copy element. So we come into ChatGPT and say that provide me with a code using BeautifulSoup to scrape the content of the table provided below. Make the request or let's say make the passing logic as simple as possible. Okay, so let's try this simple prompt and see if it works. So I'm gonna paste the entire element here. This is free ChatGPT, so let me try it and see if it works. All right, so ChatGPT generates this code for us. So let's see if it works first, right? So what I'll do is just copy the code from, let's say I'll copy from BS4 and copy into code here, import BeautifulSoup, and then I come here and already we have the HTML being loaded dynamically from the website, and we can then pass the HTML and support and get the content of the table itself from here, and then we copy these parsers. Okay, so I'm gonna skip the last one, or let's just see, let's see it, let's copy it as well so as to test if the code actually works. So fingers crossed, praying this works. So and then we change this into HTML since we are returning it from what we've done earlier from the API request that we made, and we pass the HTML into BeautifulSoup here, and this is all ChatGPT's work. So let's test if our code actually works. I'll run wallet.py again and let's see if it works. Okay, so we are getting missing elements. Like I said before, I didn't promise you that this is actually going to work. So we are missing an element here, td.coinname, asset, table price, whatever. So what I do in most cases is I copy this error directly and into ChatGPT. Sometimes it works, to just try to scan the element again. So scan the provided element again and provide the correct selector. Okay, so let's do that. So again, ChatGPT's logic did not work. For that, it's suggesting that we pass it from the p tag, but when I inspected this website, I saw that it's actually inside um, a very simple class which we can copy, and the class here total actually specifies the total for each of the token, and that's what we are getting here. And here we go, 107, 194, and we have our table already. So the next thing we want to do is, we don't want to see the table like this, right? We want to see it in form of a dictionary or in form of a JSON return. So what do? Instead of having all these, we just we change all these into something like a dictionary. So I'll do that right away. So I'll just put all these in a dictionary, and then pass them as I'm supposed to. So I'll pause the video while I do that. Okay, so I've passed all the data into a dictionary. So I'll create uh, maybe a coins empty array here, and then append this entire data to this array. Say coins dot append and table data. So down here I'll print coins. Okay, let's try our code again and let's see what output we get. We now have the whole thing a lot cleaner. This is weird. So we are not getting the entire data this uh, from this table. So we need to do something, right? So another thing I just noticed is that the amount data is wrong. We need to correct that also. So simply, I'll just go into this place and inspect the amount part of the table. Here I have first amount, and hopefully this is what we need. We just need the count. Okay, so we need the count class. I'm just gonna do that inside this place. So instead of just saying td.coin_name, which doesn't sound correct to me, so I'll paste td.count and rerun the code. Okay, before we run the code, where this coins empty the empty array is wrong. So we also, before we go ahead, we actually also need the element we removed earlier. So I'll just return this whole thing, and instead I'll say name of that coin, and I'll copy these and say, because what this is returning is actually the name of the coin, and this is returning the symbol of the coin. So this is supposed to be returning the amount that the person owns in their wallet, and here we're going to get the counts. Okay, so everything should work pretty fine now, and let's run our code again. Let's check if everything is okay. This has to be outside of the loop. So this has to be here, and we run the code again. And there you go. You have your data. To visualize it properly, I do something very interesting inside VS Code. I use our Python linter to actually fine tune the whole thing. So I just create a result.py, and I copy this so that it's more readable for me, right? So from here I can easily read the things I've scraped. And here we have the element, and here we have the symbol, the name, Solana, and this is everything that this fellow has, right? One beastie thing that this Scraper API does, you actually don't need all this stuff. Like you don't need all this. It actually has one very, very unique feature that lets you pass table automatically. So you can actually pass a parameter into this place and say output, and you get table. If I'm correct, we can check the doc, ZenRows docs. Okay, so here we have output. So we can get the output, and we get inside the output, pass tables or table, whatever. Let's try which one works. So comment all these out. Also, because I'm actually not passing the entire HTML from this website. What I'm doing is that I'm trying to get the table, right? So the table is what I want. So instead of HTML, I'll just pass or wallet detail, wallet underscore details, and I'll print wallet underscore detail. So the good thing is this actually returns a JSON object in the result. Okay, so folks, it's actually outputs and then tables. Then we have the result as sweet as this. So let's paste this again into results. Yeah, we can create a new file and name this res2.py, and here paste the whole thing, and there we go. Yeah. Okay, so we have this result. So the next thing we're gonna do is that we want to get this content from this, from this entire result. We don't need all these headings. So again, I'll copy all these and paste it inside ChatGPT. It's as simple as that, and tell it I want to be able to get the content from the following JSON file. So Python code to get the content from so I'll wrap this to make it more specific. Results. So I'll paste the results here. Let's see what ChatGPT gives us. So this it's giving us back the code, the JSON file, and there we have it. So this is what we need. We don't need this, right? So this is all we need. We just need the content of the table and pass it right here. Table, let's go then do this, and instead we have wallet details. So let's run this code and see what we get. And Python okay, so we need to print table before we run the code. We need to print table content, then we run the code. So there you have it, your data. I can create another response file here, say res maybe .py, and then paste the data inside this place, and I have what I have. So yeah, this means nothing. This actually means nothing. This means nothing. Probably an empty element before the table. That's why this is happening. And this is not different from what we got earlier. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And from the first response, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's the same thing, right? So here we have the data we want. Here we also have the data we want. The difference is just that this is a lot simpler. We passed, the response here is a lot simpler because we came from here and we came to this just a few lines of code. And this is it. We actually don't need all this anymore. But I'm going to leave it in this code because you might want to need it I'm going to push this to GitHub or put it in a GitHub gist and share it in the comment section below so that you can actually reuse this code. One thing you can do is that in a project you want to scale, you can have several wallet address in a CSV file and append those wallet addresses to this URL iteratively and use this API to make the request. Right? So for instance, if I have this in an array, I can say that um, for maybe, and I have these as addresses, I can say for address in addresses. So I'll just tab it, and this should also work. Let's try it. And there you go. There you go. You have the same, content coming off. So this code, this small thing here, is actually highly scalable, and you can do as many as you want. You can pass another wallet address into this place. You can get these wallet addresses from a CSV file. You can sort the CSV file by the total amount that each of the wallet addresses have, right? For instance, you can say that just for every wallet address that is above 1 million USDT, get the detail of the coins or the tokens that they own from coin market stats. And you can write your logic that way. That is a way to scale this project, and you can pass that into a machine learning algorithm or into a data science pipeline, whatever, or you can run some analytics and make informed decision. Again, what I want to say is that this is not a financial advice. It's not a cryptocurrency tutorial. It's just a use case of web scraping. So that's it. Thank you so much. If you like this video, please put a like on it, and most especially, please subscribe to my channel, as that keeps me going. Peace out.